Hey. You know I had to do this. One coach's opinion. And just remember, it's my opinion and not a fact. So, I'm hoping. Okay, first off, let me say this. We had a good night of boxing for the DMV. You know what I'm saying? Majority of the fights. Dave Whitmore, young up-and-coming fighter, he was successful. Scooter Davis, young up-and-coming fighter, he was successful. Antoine Douglas, exceptionally successful. Put the pressure on like you know he was going to do. Rao just didn't know what to do, couldn't handle him. I mean, he stayed in there, give him his props for being at the level he's at. But it was a dominating performance. I don't think anybody questioned on who was going to win that fight. But let's give, hats off to Lamont Roach. And I just say that because he was such an underdog. He was just such a, people was looking at me like I was crazy when I said, man, look, it's not going to be the fight you think. If you think he's just going to go up there and crash through Lamont like it ain't nothing, it's not going to happen. And let me say this, because some people will say, oh, man, Lamont ain't all that, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, let's just say it's not about being all that. It's about two guys that have been sparring and fighting since they was 8 years old, knowing each other's habits. Of course, they've developed a little bit more, but they're used to each other. They're used to each other. So with that being said, I knew it was going to be a very competitive fight. And I even told people, the longer the fight goes, the better chances that Lamont is winning the fight. First of all, Lamont is he's the more defensive fighter, the most defensive fighter of anybody that Tank has fought yet. Of the younger guys. Because some of the guys that Tank beat, I give them their credit, the Pedrazas and stuff like that. But this wasn't Pedraza's era. This wasn't his time. Pedraza was kind of like a champion that somebody needed to throne. He had a good career, and Tank caught him at the end of his career. But as far as the fresh Tank's era fighters, he was the most defensive fighter. He was hard to hit. Now Tank hit him, but he hit Tank. And to be honest, he hit Tank with probably the more telling blow because of balance. It was a good shot. Don't get me wrong, but it was balanced. You could clearly see that Tank had a problem. He had a problem handling the punch. It was a punch that caught him. It was that counter right hand. Y'all remember it? That had Tank stumbling. That had everybody. Because even the announcers at first were just saying, they were even saying Lamont is landing more punches. But I just still don't think he's winning. He landed more punches in the first and second round, but I just still don't think he's winning. And I don't know why and whose idea it was to have Larry Hazard judge fights. I haven't really seen him get too many right, unless they were just an onslaught. But you had a guy pitching a shutout, really. You had Lamont winning one round, and nobody else had that. So I don't know whose idea it was. Hey man, call Larry Hazard, but somebody needs to call him back. Let's say who else we have. But it was so many people, especially coming in the barbershop and talking, and that's why I don't like going to fight parties, because when you go to a fight party, 9 times out of 10. 90% of the people there are just gonna be people talking about, yeah, man, he looks scared. He look like he a sucker, man. Blah, blah, blah. Man, that nigga ain't even from DC. What does any of that have to do? That just was fight selling. What does any of that have to do? And at the end of the day, these guys want to remain friends. And there's plenty of things Lamont could have said. There's plenty of things that Tank could have said that was offensive, but they didn't draw the line. The mama thing came up because Lamont likes to use the phrase, on my mama, I'm gonna do this, on my mama. So of course Tank probably come up, man, you better not even bring your mama. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of things Lamont could have said. There's a lot of things that Tank could have said where this day today could have been a lot different. Now, I'm almost positive there should be nobody out there that saw both of their faces with a little bit of knots and stuff on it that said, oh, these guys really didn't try to hurt each other. If you're saying that right now, you probably really just don't know boxing and you're looking for attention. And I know a lot of people are gonna say, Tank even said that if he wanted to, he could have did. Man, look, Tank's gonna say whatever Tank has to say, but I don't think Tank could have done anything. I'm not gonna say he couldn't have done anything different, but I'm not gonna say Lamont couldn't have done anything different. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say that Tank was trying to get his man, and Lamont was trying to get his man. We all saw that. It's nobody out here that should have knocked that fight. That was a very competitive fight. New York got what they wanted. Bottom line, there should be nobody said, man, that was boring alone or what. It started off tactical, but then it went to, hey, let's roll, buddy. Hey, it's getting serious. Let's both corners were, man, keep your hands up, blah, blah, blah. It was an intention. That's why, and that's another reason I'm going to fight. I love to hear the corners. I'm a boxing coach. I like to hear what was being said, the good, the bad, or whatever. That's just what we like, you know what I'm saying? If you're in the boxing, I got to hear the corners. I can't do a fight party and there's a DJ in the back drowning out the sound and everybody just guessing what's going on. I got to hear the announcers, and all the announcers, you had to admit, were against Lamont from the beginning. Even people that's asking them ridiculous questions. I know you're gonna knock out, but are you scared? And let them come. Hey, really? I'm surprised he held up to some of those. Knowing him, the way I know him, I know he wanted to say, hey man, look, this interview's over, mother. You know what I'm saying? Some of the interviews, I was like, I know my man is not enjoying these interviews. And he did what he had to say. I mean, he did what he had to do. A lot of people felt when his stock rose tremendously with that fight right there. In my opinion, he can go back down to 130, do what he got to do. You know what I'm saying, and enjoy life. He's won as a boxer. If you know what the goal of these guys are and the goal of what they want to do with their lives, then you should say last night Lamont Roach won. Tank won fights ago. He won fights ago. Boxing, he has won in boxing. There's nothing he can do now to be a loser in boxing. Now I don't if Tank is broken in 15 years or Lamont's broken 15 years, that's not because of boxing. Boxing paid these guys well. So they've done exactly what they were supposed to do in the sport of boxing. Only thing they can do now is more. So congratulations to both of y'all. You put on a hell of a performance that I'm sure everybody enjoyed. Now, where do they go from here? Are they going to get a rematch, or what's going on? I mean, Tank's kind of in control. You know, does Lamont want to chase Tank? Does he come out and start talking trash and try to get Tank to fight him again? I'm sure, to be honest, PBC and stuff probably would like that fight, Tank to fight him again. But Tank probably said, I got other guys that I can make money or more money with fighting because people want to see it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to see him and Lamont fight again. But, you know, it's his options. He might feel Keyshawn is easier. He might feel Shakur is easier. You just never know, man. You just never know. But I mean, me personally, I enjoy watching boxing. If you ask me, I probably would tell Tank, I'd like to see Tank fight some of the other guys, more variety. You know, I don't want to see a trilogy like, you know, the Bivol better be it. I mean, that's a good trilogy going on. It's a well-earned trilogy. But I don't want to see like a back and forth thing. I'd like to see both of them fight. There's some other guys out here that I'd like to see them go up against, especially at 130. There's a lot of Shockey Foster. Who else it was? To be honest, you know, you never know if Because people like, what other fight could Lamont get? It was big. Tell Inoue to step up. Everybody say he's the boogeyman. Tell him to step up. Carry that punching power on the up to 130. You know, see where you're at with that. You know what I'm saying? That could be a big fight for him. You just never know. I mean, both of them just opened up a lot of doors for themselves. I mean, Tank already had a few doors to look for, but Lamont, instead of having one door and see where his 130-pound belts were going to take him, or belt was going to take him, now he actually has doors that are open. I know people. Now he is, I would say this right now, his value might be beyond belts. There are a lot of people that probably would say, I'd like to see him fight this person, that person. Hey, look, it might be worth you just saying, forget you can have this belt. I'm getting off on this money. I bet you the Turk is looking at him now. I bet you they might get some calls from him. You know, all in all, man, you know, man, I feel great. I feel great for the young man. Like I said, I actually, I was actually coaching boxing when I met his father, and I knew Roach already. Roach actually went to school with my sister, is his uncle Boogaloo. But I met his father, and him and my son Mike used to play football in Forestville for the Forestville Falcons. Mike didn't play that long, you know what I'm saying? But that's where they first met. And then Mike was in boxing, and then Lamont came in boxing. And Mike and Lamont fought each other a few times and sparred numerous times, and actually sparred a few times for this fight right here. It's like family. That's what I was telling everybody. This is family. No disrespect to Tank, but Tank knows that when the silver gloves went on, I'm gonna root for RJ and Lamont when you fight them. And whoever you fight down here, but when we get out of town, Tank knows I'm gonna root for him. Anybody Tank fights except for a DMV fighter, I'm rooting for. And he might even have me root against a DMV fighter if I don't feel he's family. I don't know everybody. I'm not close with everybody in the DMV, but I was close with Lamont. Been to his house, you know what I'm saying? You know, it was family. Never been to Tank's house, so I'm not gonna say that. I've been to Tank's house of Upton, but see Tank all the time, man. Tank is a good dude, man. I love talking to him. He's always been respectful. He's always a respectful dude. He's really a good kid. He's a good kid that grew up in a bad situation and made good of it, and used that hatred and meanness and brought it to the ring. Tank was always a mean kid when it came to boxing. He always had that hurt. That don't mean he came down the DMV and was putting hands on everybody. He wasn't knocking a bunch of guys out and sparring down here and nothing like that. He came down here for the reasons he came down here. Not just to work with Barry, but he knew he was getting better work up here in DC than he was getting in Baltimore. I can promise you that. No disrespect to Malik, you know what I'm saying? But really around Tank size, he got better work when he came to DC, headbangers, places like that, than he did probably at home. So that's why he came down a lot, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know how y'all like to fight. I'm just happy to see, and happy that a lot of people got to come back in that barber shop and got to say, hey, man, you was right, man. Apologies to Lamont. Man, that kid can fight, man. I'm here all that. I didn't know that he can fight like that, man. I'm going to get all that. You know what I'm saying, man? I mean, I know that. It's cool. I don't really take it to heart when I talk to y'all anyway, but I'm so happy that Lamont proved he belonged. Because some of y'all, man, you know, even some of y'all from down here were, geez, man, we got to do better, man. We got to do better. You got people in DC that hate other people from DC if they move out of DC. You know what I'm saying? We got to do better. Truth of the matter is, try to buy a house in DC. It's going to cost you probably more than a house in Maryland. because it's in DC. A lot of reasons why a lot of people don't buy houses in DC is because right now they're expensive. 600,000 plus for a row house. If you want to get off Rhode Island Avenue, any of those places like that, DC is really expensive to live in. You want an apartment in DC, especially off 8th Street or something like that, you're talking about $2,300, maybe $2,400 a month for some apartments in DC. So don't get me wrong, you know. I just feel, man, you know, I really just feel good on the situation, man. Watching those two get in the ring, share a ring, especially when you watched them before. And it always was Lamont Tank fighting Friday. Okay, I'm gonna be there. It's always been like that. It's always been like that, man. And then when they went out and won like tournaments together at different weights, you know, they might have been weight apart, but they won tournaments together. It was always respect. Like I said, bottom line is, when they started throwing punches, the respect, it ended. When the fight was over, man, the respect was there again. And that's how boxing is supposed to work, and that's how it should work. Don't confuse boxing with some of you guys that are fighting on the street and gotta build it up. Boxers don't gotta call each other bees and punks and sissies and all that to get hyped up. They just get in there and work. If you respect your craft. If you don't respect your craft, yeah, you might have to get goaded into the ring. But the guys that I deal with, the high level guys in the area of the DMV, we working with anybody. We working with anybody. From Triple Threat Gym, No Excuses, Headbangers, Sugar Ray Leonard, all the gyms we have, majority of these guys, Thump Yard, they doing something. O'Connor got a nice gym coming up. They got some good fighters, man. We got a lot of good fighters in the DMV. And look, these fighters are gonna need y'all support. The same way y'all support them Commanders, the same way y'all go to the Wizards games, the same, well, at least try. I mean, I see y'all with the jerseys. So you gotta be fans. Y'all might talk trash about them, and I'm not sure if that's cool, but let's try to uplift our city, man. You know, that's rough. That's really rough, you know. But one coach's opinion, I told y'all it was gonna be different, and it was. Shout out to everybody that fought on that card. Shout out to everybody that improved their career last night. One coach's opinion, I'm out.